getting into our conversation for this hour, another tall man joins us in the room. It seems that it has been the day for tall men today, but okay.
No, it's been a day for very tall men.
Very tall men.
Tall men are people like me.
Okay, very tall men are people like
Geoffrey Ruku here and Professor Songok.
Indeed.
Those are very extremely tall people.
Another very tall man joins us in the person of Mbeere North Member of Parliament, Geoffrey Ruku, and he's here this morning. Mheshimiwa, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
You know, we'll say it because, we've not seen you this year.
Yes. It's good coming back at this very nice studio.
Good to have you here this morning.
Thank you.
We're going to be talking about a number of things today, but we do hope that you're well and that let's make you just a little bit better, because CT will welcome you with today's proverb and you have no choice but to tell us what you think about it. Is that all right? Okay.
Our proverbs for this week come from the Republic of Djibouti. Today's proverb: a guest who breaks the plate of his hosts is not soon forgotten. You've gone to your in-laws and then you've gone and broken a plate.
Take back their daughter.
Where do you get this profile?
This one is from Djibouti. He got this one from Djibouti.
Yeah, I think it should not be forgotten.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you go on breaking plates.
You are the guest, you're going to people's house and you're breaking plates.
Shida.
You should be a bit careful not to break the plates. Instead, enjoy the meal and the moment, and you say thank you to the host.
And don't destroy things in the house.
Yes.
Yeah. Otherwise.
He's right. If you've ever broken a plate in your in-laws' house, whenever there is friction, even if the friction is about a car, they will remind your spouse that you once broke a plate. You've been careless for a long time.
And that's why he broke the plate when he came here.
You go to somebody's house and you destroy their possession. They're not likely to forget about you. Or they're not likely to think of you in a good way.
Or invite you again.
Or invite you again, for that matter. Okay. So, Mheshimiwa, thank you for being here this morning. And even as we get into some conversations, there's a lot that's happening politically, isn't it? We seem to have been ready to vote for elections as though the vote were coming tomorrow. There's a lot of electioneering that's going on. And there seems to be a lot of bad blood. It would appear as though somebody went to somebody else's house and broke their plates. What's going on? How are things?
I think things are moving the right direction so far.
Oh, okay.
I don't think there is much which this country have not seen in the past. Politics is usual push and pull from one direction to the other. Of course, we have a very weak opposition, if I may say.
Weak opposition, okay.
If I may call it opposition, is extremely weak because these are faces which we know. That's at national level. Of course, once a member of parliament wins, or an MCA win, or a governor wins, or a senator, or a women rep, even the president, the following day, other people start preparing on how they will take your position.
Okay.
It's normal. So I don't think there is anything out of ordinary. Everything is the way it's supposed to be.
Okay.
Yes.
So you talk about a weak opposition, whether it was created that way or whether it's that way by design. But you seem to not be very happy with that opposition being weak. Why is that?
Assuming those who are in government are the one in the opposition, don't you think we'll be having a very strong opposition?
Say that again?
Assuming those who are in government, assuming William Ruto, Adan Duare, Professor Kithure Kindiki, Kimani Ichung'wah, Murkomen are all in opposition. don't you think we'll be having a very strong opposition in this country?
So what you're saying is that the persons who are in opposition today,
The individuals.
you're saying that they are weak in character, and that's why the opposition is weak?
Yeah, they are very weak in character. the
What-
individuals.
What informs
Alonso's
that?
just chilling.
What informs that?
It's the history, because they are known. The history of Karonga Musyoka, the history of Moses Wetangula. And
Moses Wetangula is the Speaker of the National Assembly.
Not Moses Wetangula.
Are you giving us news?
My many apologies.
Was that a Freudian slip?
This guy, Eugene Wamarwa. The history of Eugene Wamarwa. Jeremiah Keoni, a guy who never fought for Musalia Mudavadi when he was his running mate in his own polling station. You know, some things are outrageous. So these are very weak people politically, you know.
So what you're
The
saying
political
is that
mass, so
because from the individuals that you've named, because these individuals, from what you say, maybe they've not been able to garner enough votes, that from what you see historically, that they've not stood on a very strong political foundation, for example, and so they cannot make up an opposition? What would be the recipe for strong opposition?
They are not able to cut across the communities of the Republic of Kenya.
Okay.
They are not able to speak the language of the people in Ramu, the people in Turkana, the people in Mbeere. They are not able to identify with, you know, the forgotten corners of our republic. They are not able to have an agenda, you know, because more or less they talk about their tribal or ethnic groups. That's where they try to coalesce around and be in a situation where that Karonso will bring this, Eugene will bring the other. I don't know, the other one will bring this community. It's not one person cutting across all communities. So that is one of the very weak link. And the politics of today are completely different with the politics of the past years.
Are you talking about
even if it's the politics of the past years, Jomo Kenyatta was a nationalist, a guy, a man who is able to cut across the communities. Mwai Kibaki, he struggled a bit, but there was a coalition, okay, which helped him to cut across the nation. Moi, with all the weaknesses which we may want to mention, this is a guy who preached unity of the republic for 24 years across the nation. Of course, he punished those who were errant in a very serious manner. And I think all those who are punished by Moi deserve to be punished. If you look at it critically.
I'm sorry, just hang on.
Hold on, Mheshimiwa. Are you saying that Nyati House was necessary? Then you are saying the many tribal clashes that Moi oversaw were a good thing. And if so, we would also like to know contractually whether what you are saying, you are
Could
saying in a
replay
sound
itself in the
mind,
present.
in a sound mind and with full presence.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I spent some 2 years studying Africa continental politics, and we went through pre-colonial period during the kingdoms in Africa, Baganda Kingdom, I don't know, and many other kingdoms across Africa, across the continent. We then when the colonialists, the 1885 Berlin Conference, what happens? Colonialists coming to divide Africa into sections to independence time and also post-independent times to multi-party democracy, Africa as we know it today. And if you are able to put Moi in that mix, plus the coups which were happening, plus the Cold War, the USSR and the West, on what was happening then, the kind of political environment which President Moi was operating in, vis-a-vis the issues he did, the progress he made for this nation, you give Moi a very good grade in terms of holding this country together, in terms of uniting the nation, in terms of putting necessary infrastructure, in terms of having a very strong education system, which is respected across the world, in terms of producing very credible human resource, which Kenyans have worked across the world. These are the results of the policies and programs which President Moi put in place at a very difficult.
So you're saying even with the noise, even if the noise that was being made, according to what you're calling it now, with the noise that was being made around him, you're saying that there was progress that was made at that time that you can now see still the results of today.
Yes.
And I'm trying to see if you're making a parallel between that and what is currently going on when we're talking about punishments, that particular conversation. That if the noise then was essentially shut away, or if the noise was put in torture chambers, or if the noise was put away where people couldn't find them, then that is how you're then able to measure any kind of development that took place, because any kind of opposition to what he was doing was unwelcome.
So if you look at when the African Charter of Peoples and Human Rights was enacted by the African Union or AOU, you remember it came from AOU to African Union, the issues of human rights were not as much entrenched as they are at the moment. That does not mean I'm saying it was good for people to be tortured in Nyaya House chambers. That does not mean that Matipa was supposed to be turning to, someone who is completely tortured and he can't know himself. No. Those are atrocities which should be condemned.
Okay.
But at the same time, African nations went to dogs. Very many of them during from 1970s to 1990s. Kenya is one of the nations which, yes, we did not do very well then, but we stood. Our education system was tested and it stood. Look at the infrastructure around this city. Go to Lilongwe, go to Kambara here, go to many African capitals. You will see the major difference between this country and other African nations. So give credit where it deserves. Moi did a good job during his time as president. Yes, there are issues which were not right, but that is the nature of human development or progress.
Mheshimiwa, you've done a very good catapult and done a very good job of making us giants among the dwarves, which is fine. But the question I have to ask for you is that in 2025 we find ourselves in very precarious positions. If it's about coups, there have been about 4 in the last 4 years. If it's about wars, we are surrounded by wars right from Somalia to Ethiopia, to Sudan, to South Sudan. Thank God M23 has declared a ceasefire for a while, but we are surrounded by conflict. I do not think applying your logic to this season would be cogent. But my second question as well is, you talked about opposition and them not being useful because they do not command certain tribal bases, and I'm really struggling to understand how my tribe determines how I should oppose.
I think you didn't get me right.
Perhaps I didn't.
Yes.
That might be true.
What I said is the position which we have at the moment, they are hiding behind tribal cocoons. They don't have a command which cut across the communities of the Republic of Kenya. They are not nationalistic. They are ethnic-based guys, individuals. That's what I say.
So when they go to court and to talk about the issues of abductions, or they go to court to challenge the certain bills, are they doing it as a matter that cuts across the nation, or do they do it specific to a region?
Going to courts,
I'm just using that as an example.
Yes, challenging different policy or programs run by the government or laws which have been registered by the National Assembly or the Senate. That anybody, you don't require to be a politician to go to court and do some of these things. Any Kenyan has a right to go to court and challenge whatever he thinks should be challenged. What I'm talking about is, let's see Kalonzo Musyoka in Mbeere in a very vibrant way.
So are you talking...
Let's see Eugene Wamalwa and his team in Kwale in a very vibrant manner. So these are individuals who are just lazy, individuals who move from one hotel to the other, thinking that that's how formation of government is done.
So you what I hear you saying,
you can't form government, and you can't oppose a government in a credible manner from one conference room to another, from one hotel room to another.
So
it is impossible.
Clarify this for me.
Go to where the rubber meets the road.
What you're saying,
and it's the communities of the republic.
So it's really not about the opposition, but what you're saying essentially is you're putting a dent, or rather, you're taking the wind out of the sails of these gentlemen who, at some point, wanted to put up their names for, recognition.
They are very weak
to run for the
individuals.
government, to run for president.
Yes, they are very weak.
But the question
and the example of this weakness is that they are not able to command a nationalistic approach towards leadership.
Let me tell you, if there was no media in the Republic of Kenya, for instance, or if the media does not penetrate, to all corners of the Republic, some of these people, their names do not be mentioned anywhere. Their names are, taken out there by the media.
Would you be saying the same thing if their names were among those who were chosen for positions of leadership or positions of government today?
You see, if, for instance, I represent the Mbeere North constituency, I have never seen those people we are talking about
in Mbeere North,
in my constituency.
What I'm asking,
I have never seen them, not even once. So what is this you are talking about?
Let me make a comparison for you, a very easy one.
When we come to the President Wairimu Ruku, these are gentlemen who has been in very small town centers.
Okay.
Not the major town center. I'm not talking about in my constituency. The major town center is called Chicago town. Okay. And the other one is Shiara town. No. I'm talking about Kerie. I'm talking about Karambare. I'm talking about Kamumu. Places where Wairimu Ruku has visited.
Now, did you ever see...
How do you compete with such an individual?
Let me ask you a question to see if you can ground that point. What is the name of that town? Okay.
I'm talking about Kamumu.
Kamumu, okay.
Town center.
Did you ever see Opiyo Wandayi in Kamumu Town Center? Because now he's a member. He's a member of government. He's a member of cabinet, which all of you have so welcomed, right? Did you ever see him in that small town for you to now say that because he has come here, now I can see he's a reputable person and he's a member of the government today, and we can recognize him? Did you ever see him there?
No, fair enough. Let me answer you. Opiyo Wandayi has not claimed that he wants to be the president of the Republic of Kenya. Have you heard him saying he wants to be the president?
This is my point exactly. Because he's now been embraced by government. You would never say something about him.
And his team, they are saying one of them will be president of the Republic of Kenya. Isn't it? Opiyo Wandayi was a member of parliament. And probably he would be very happy to go back to continue serving as a member of parliament of his constituency. So the town centers and villages in his constituency is very okay mingling and serving those people, okay, and asking their votes. But they are gentlemen who want the vote of Kenyans, and they want to tell Kenyans a guy who knows where Kamumu is, who knows where Kerie is, who knows, and he has set his foot in Karambali, in very remote corners of this republic. That's a man you want to wake up and dismiss and say, these are very, I don't want to use that one, but for the sake of whatever, is a nobody.
Well, let me ask.
Let me tell you, they'll be in for a very serious shock.
They could be in for a shock. That's fine. My question is how is setting foot in my father's village in Chwele and talking at the people because you don't even let them talk to you, how does that make you a better leader? It makes you a good campaigner, I'll tell you that. But how
does that convince me that you're going to take care of the matters under the Constitution, for example?
Very good question.
Yeah.
The centrality of our Constitution is public participation. Public participation is at the center of our Constitution of the Republic of Kenya. And public participation is conducted in all manner of ways. When you are in deep corners of this republic, talking to people, interacting with them, the leaders of that village, waking up and speaking, that is very good public participation. You understand indeed what affects different corners of this country. You'll be able to see with your own eyes. Some things you don't require to be told. Some things you just require to see. You know, another day I posted photos of one of my school in Mbeere North.
Yes, I saw that.
Which is fully, which was Mad World School. And Kenyans were, you know, out there saying, you mean we have such kind of schools? Meaning, we have many Kenyans who have not gone in deep in the villages to see the kind of where schools we have, kind of roads we have, lack of water, lack of electricity, lack of social amenities.
Oh, we know, yeah.
You know? So you can be taught there, but you really you are not in touch with the real things on the ground. So it's extremely important for us readers to be able to walk the journey that other Kenyans are walking.
You can walk all over the country, but then how is that making a difference in terms of the things that need to be done?
Of Mandera, for instance.
You walk around the country, you look at these things. The president, for example, is in Northeastern this week. Because you've gone to different parts of the country, how is that going to affect that you actually do something about the things that are lacking? And I think that's the big question. If you're traveling all over the country and seeing people and making sure that they support you in one way or another, what are you doing that is going to make sure that these issues that you face, you yourself have mentioned them by your own admission, poor road infrastructure, lack of running water, schools that don't exist, how will traveling around to ensure support make sure that these things are actually done? That's a big question for Kenyans. How?
That is through the programs which you can see government putting in place. Because you have to put in place programs which equalize. Okay, probably that's a strong term. Which put equity across Kenyans. Because we enjoy water in Nairobi. We enjoy electricity. We enjoy good roads.
In Nairobi?
Okay? Yes, around in Nairobi. Okay? And probably Nairobi metropolis. These are Kenyans paying taxes. We have Kenyans in Mandera who are also paying taxes. But their chiefs are being abducted. You are in a situation where you don't think that a chief can be abducted.
Can you imagine? Under the cover of daylight.
Okay. Now, in Mandera is Kenya, but chiefs have been abducted. So there are unique challenges of that part of the Republic of Kenya. There are unique challenges on this part of the Republic of Kenya within Nairobi metropolis. So you'll be able to understand the kind of policies and programs as the end of government, as ministers, as leaders, which you are supposed to put
by
so
going
that
around the country.
Equity across the Republic.
Mbeere North MP is our guest this hour, and just looking at, a number of political intrigues. And here we are saying, we're looking at, there's a political hatchet that's out and it seems to be knocking. And we're saying, okay, well, is it possible to bury that? But from what you're saying, it seems maybe not. Mark has a question.
I'm having a bit of whiplash, Mheshimiwa, because, it's easy to campaign when you have a government vehicle. Because you say you're going to launch a program and then you go and then you're campaigning. But on the other side, the ideas, the sufuria hitting and all of those things are not enough of opposition. So my question to you is, what is the cogent point that you're trying to give Kenyans? Because there's a side of opposition you've forgotten. That side is called Gen Z. It's called social media. It's called all of these people who are literally speaking every day through social media and talking about the issues that are there. And they're not looking at opposition as people. They're looking at opposition as a movement, right? Of the ground itself speaking to the powers that be. So opposition is not just Kalonzo, and I surely hope it is not, just as leadership is not William Ruto alone, because I hope that is not it as well. So what is the cogent message that Kenyans should get from you?
I think we are saying our nation is at a proper turning point where we have, as I have said, and I am repeating the same, weak opposition at the moment. Raila Odinga, who is a very strong, one of the strongest politicians we have in the Republic of Kenya, is supporting the programs of the government. Very senior members of ODM are in government, are ministers in government. So we are left with very weak individuals. So basically, Gen Z played a very critical role. Social media is playing a very critical role because the individuals we have are weak. But we have young people on online space who are playing a very critical role, and I would encourage them to continue playing the same critical role. The only thing I would also encourage them to do is to do it in a very peaceful manner. The demonstration which we witnessed last year, first for the 2 days, they were extremely organized, peaceful demonstrations by young people, which was, very beautiful thing to see. But of course, criminal element came in and disrupted the entire very well-organized and peaceful demonstration by young people. They tend to be criminal. Other politicians trying to take advantage of the whole thing. So, yes, you are right, my brother, that we have a space, online space. We have Gen Z, who are very fine-brand, very well-informed. Let's continue with that space. Some people say Kenya, investors will put money in this country, not necessarily because of the leaders, but because of the population. That the population is extremely informed. Population really know where their nation should be taken. And if it's going in the wrong direction, they are there to say now and then, without wasting time, that we are going in the wrong direction and this should be the right direction. That is acknowledged globally, that Kenyan population is very enlightened. So let the Gen Z continue raising their voices, correcting readers on the online platform. But let's also do that within the realms of law and in an organized manner. That's what I have to say.
Mheshimiwa, I want to ask this question. When you say that the opposition is weak, the implication is that the government is strong. Is that not so? Now, if indeed, as you say, you've been supported by one of the strongest politicians in the country, if I do my maths, 30% of those who are now in cabinet were former hostiles. How exactly does that add up to a confident and strong government when you've already incorporated people who previously were definitely not on your side? How is that a sign of strength?
To answer your question properly, we should talk about statecrafting. Statecrafting. Because we have a state and also we have a government. We have a state which has to survive, regardless of whether government is in place or not. Assuming William Ruto is not the president, assuming there are not even ministers, Central Bank of Kenya has to run, banking system or financial system of this country has to be in place, schools have to continue, businesses have to run, transportation has to continue, people have to fly from JKIA to other parts of the world, all those things will not stop because you don't have a government. So there is one thing that has to survive, and that is the state. The soul of this nation has to survive regardless of the situation. And that's where now we talk about statecrafting. If the situations demand that for the state, for the soul of the nation, to be in good health, the critics of the government have to come on board. So be it. Because we can't lose the soul of the nation.
And isn't that what folks are crying about today? Because, I mean, we could do a whole list, Mheshimiwa, that the soul of the nation is what people are grappling in order for it to be saved. Because what are we talking about? That if people are to be in good health, that if people are to be educated properly, that if the infrastructure that's going to create a conducive environment for people to survive be done in a proper way, that is what people are crying out for. People are crying out for today that do not abduct me and do not let me show up dead on my mother's doorstep. That's what people are saying. That people are saying, do not raise taxes to the point that people are struggling to within an inch of their lives and they cannot survive. That's the soul that we're talking about. It's not about a bunch of people who decide that they want to be in power for as long as they can. It's actually saving the soul of the nation, and that soul is hinged on these things that I've talked about. So who's protecting the soul in that way? Who's doing that?
And that is exactly
who's doing that?
And that is exactly what the president and his government have been doing. Only that there is too much misinformation. Misinformation and disinformation, which we saw yesterday, and I commend CS Bandi for coming out to go to Bunga Wananchi yesterday and start explaining Finance Bill 2025 early enough so that crooked pharaohs may not take advantage of disinforming Kenyans. Because there is a serious wave on this wake of AI.
What's untrue?
Misinformation and disinformation.
Mheshimiwa, tell me one thing that has come out that's untrue.
Yesterday we saw CS Bandi coming out to Bunga Wananchi explaining to Kenyans, to the common man, that this is the steps which we are taking towards crafting taxation policies. Don't be misled by the enemies of the state, because Kenya are serious enemies. There are many enemies out there who will be extremely happy
from where?
To see this country going to the dogs.
Who? Such as whom, Mheshimiwa?
I don't want to mention names, but we have international bodies out there. We have countries out there who have operatives in this country.
Let me give you an example.
Be extremely happy.
Let me give you an example.
But why are you afraid to mention the country?
If you're talking about misinformation,
that is not my.
If you're talking about misinformation,
I can mention that in a privileged ground. I can mention that on the floor of the
This is a very clear question. If we're talking about misinformation, which you've said that people are putting out there,
I'll give you an example of misinformation.
But if CS Badi has come out to say, for example,
let me give you an example of misinformation, which was in Finance Bill 2025.
Please.
2024. For instance, it was out there in public domain that Finance Bill, as a crowd talking about rand, that once we pass Finance Bill, government will start, Kenyans will start paying taxes for the rand which they own in the villages. It was out there, it was everywhere on TikToks. I don't know, even a green booklet. Which is printed like the actual booklet of Finance Bill 2024, and there was nothing like that. But you know, you could not be able even to convince my mother in the village that that's not true.
Do you know there would have been nothing that you sorry,
there's a lot of
misinformation.
That's why we have seen CS Badi coming out early enough.
CS Badi, there would have been very little that you would have been able to say to convince John Badi 1 year ago that the fiscal policies that were being set up for Kenya were actually for the good of the Kenyans. Same man wearing a different hat today. So I would say that to neutralize the opposition, which is something that has been done so very well, was to bring these gentlemen and put them into government. So you're talking about a weak opposition, but it's one that has been done by design. And you're using the same individual who very vehemently opposed some of the things that we're talking about today is now in a position to support them. Do you not see that design?
No. As I said, it was not a design. It was a moment of truth, a moment of saving the soul of the nation.
When you needed to bring people who were on the opposite side onto your side.
Yeah, why? Because I have told you the truth again and again. You don't believe me that I'm saying the truth. So let me bring in someone on board who you trust. Who you trust, so that he come and see, look, I've been telling you this is the situation.
But I like your explanation. I honestly do. And I'm listening, and at some level, they're actually convincing. And it's a good thing you're a politician, because when you're a politician, that sort of argument makes sense. You see, I wouldn't expect you to say anything other than what you're saying, in all honesty. No.
I'm not disagreeing.
When someone belongs to a political party, or he belongs to a certain division within politics, it is correct that you should point out the things you're pointing out. I want to move away from this discussion of weak opposition and strong government, or whatever the permeation is. And I want to ask the question. In this country, we've always had, at the 11th hour, the ability to talk to each other and form coalitions, even when things were really, really, really bad. Now, when we talk about burying the hatchet, that is what it is. But in politics, this coming together and bringing in members of the opposition, does it really help the citizenry? That really is the question I'm asking. The soul may be saved.
As I have mentioned, I have said...
But is it really saved?
Is it saved?
As I have said, trust. Because we are managing public affairs. We are not in business of private business. President is managing public affairs. It has reached a stage or a moment where people don't believe that what the president is saying is the truth.
Because they can see, their eyes are open.
What ministers are saying is the truth. People think, no, we are being cheated somewhere. The members of opposition, they're saying, no, this guy is cheating us. And he's cheating Kenyans.
The same weak
Because their eyes are open.
Okay, we say, okay, guys, that's the situation. I will give you an opportunity to come and run this ministry. So that you can see and believe what I'm saying is the truth. Remember, there was a task force which was formed by the president to oversee the debts, both domestic debts and international debts. One of the members who are put there are members from the Law Society of Kenya. Because these were very strong guys and going to court and shouting that as far as the debts of this country is concerned, what is being tapered by government is not true. Those are just figures. We are paying debt which is not there. People borrowed money and they took it to I don't know where. It's okay. You have managed to convince the public. You have won in the public court that what we are telling you as a government, it is wrong. Okay, please come and help us in looking at all this so that you can tell us whether it is true or not.
Was it a please come and help us in this issue, or was it a come and take a position so that you don't open your mouth to
No. It's a task force. It will be done in public. You know, members of parliament, they do sit in committees. And there are situations where you invite different ministers, different government agencies to come and give evidence to the committee, to come and table documents. And we sit there. We even, some of the issues are taken on oath, that you come, take oath on what you are saying is truth, but the truth. Documents are tabled. You are told, this is the situation. You guys, you are the policy makers, you are the lawmakers. Use this information to make the right decision for the Republic of Kenya. And some of the situations are there. We are out here thinking that we are in good shape, but the technocrat and bureaucrat, they come and table documents. And they tell you, this is the situation. For instance, KQ was guaranteed a loan of 19 billion Kenyan shilling by the Kenyan government many years ago. We're in a situation where KQ has devoted to pay the loan. The guarantor is Kenyan government. So what are you going to do? Are you going to pay the 19 billion? If you don't pay the 19 billion, news will be out there across the world saying Kenya government has devoted. That when that happens, there will be capital outflow from Nairobi Stock Exchange and other investments within the economy. And therefore, you'll see the exchange rate, Kenyan shilling, depreciating seriously against dollar and other hard currencies.
I'm trying
so it is not the fault of Kenyan government for KQ to default. It's the management, it's bad decisions. But now, government is in a very difficult situation.
Government is a shareholder.
So,
and how on earth did the government let all that go down? And they...
Under its watch.
Yes, exactly.
So you find...
Government is to blame.
So you find we are in a difficult situation. You have to make difficult decisions. You have to pay amount of money which you are not supposed to pay. So these are some of the difficult situations which we find ourselves in.
You know, Mheshimiwa, and KQ, for example, recorded profit 513 billion for the financial year 2024, right? So KQ is not a danger. It's not in a difficult situation. Then
actually, it is, man.
No, I'm just saying they recorded a profit. Yeah. But similarly, the freehold land within near urban, within near and urban areas is the bill that was being addressed. My point is that the issue in Kenya is not fake news. The issue in Kenya is not weak opposition. Because in fact, if you were to complain about weak opposition and you support government, it is government that made the opposition weak. So I am really...
Mark, if the government is that strong, you see, for one to be weak, it means you're strong.
Yeah.
If you're that strong, why do you keep co-opting other people?
Exactly.
Who are definitely in the opposition?
Yes. And one of the things, Mheshimiwa, that we have quite a little time, Kenyans are crying for real problems that need real solutions. I do not think Kalonzo Musyoka or Eugene Wamalwa or whoever can really offer those solutions real time. This hard space you are talking about, the government that is strong, please tell Kenyans, because we need hope. In fact, yesterday we said, make Mark rich again. Tell us, how is this pain going? That's really what we want to know.
The thing that Kenyans are complaining about,
we really
how
don't care about whether Kalonzo is strong or weak.
Yes, it is true. Kenyans finding it difficult to meet day-to-day expenses. And it is true also that this government has taken 2 years to stabilize in terms of getting right the macroeconomic parameters which are critical in getting economy in the right trajectory. I can assure you this year is the year when Kenyans are going to feel the effect of and decisions which are made by this government for the last 2 years. They will be able to feel the effect in terms of having money in their pocket. Because we have gotten right as far as inflation of the country is concerned. We got it right as far as the exchange rates are concerned. We got it right as far as fuel prices are concerned. We got it right as far as edible oils are concerned.
Okay.
We have enough local production of cereals, maize, beans. This country does not need now to import maize and beans from other countries. We have enough local production of sugar. This country does not now need to import sugar from other countries. Quite a number of things are in the right place. This year is a year when Kenyans are going to feel the effect of buying cheap products, the effect of seeing their road being, because we have huge number of projects which have stalled across the country. This year, starting this month, we are going to see contractors going back to site, meaning many Kenyans we are going to be employed. One of the sector which has gone down in terms of percentage, according to Kenya Bureau of Statistics, is construction industry.
Okay.
Why? Because all contractors are not on site. They
Sorry,
have not been paid.
but unfortunately, with conversations like this, time comes to an end. But I hear you being prophetic, and it will be interesting to see because this month is this month. We're just 4 days in. It'll be interesting to see if some of these things actually do happen. 2025 is we're going through it. Mbeere North MP has been our guest this hour. Geoffrey Ruku, thank you for being here this morning.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.